tits, bitch.
Hello, Fiends and Fiendettes. Welcome to a very special Spoilercast episode of the best horror podcast on 7voltmedia.com and the world, Scream Fiends. I'm your host, Alex, and with me once again is Russ.
Hey.
So, like I said, this is a Spoilercast for the newest movie in the Conjuring universe, Annabelle Creation.
I like that you call it a universe.
It is becoming a universe. So, with that being said, if you do not want anything spoiled, pause this video right now.
Come back to it later.
And come back to it if you want to see this movie and not have it spoiled for you, because we're going to go through the entire thing, front to back.
Back to front.
And that is your warning. So,
consider yourself warned.
Let's go.
This is our new orphanage. It's as big as a castle.
Feel free to use the house as you see fit. Mrs. Mullins and I stay down here. Your rooms are upstairs. Locked, and it stays that way.
Hello? You're the Mullins daughter, aren't you?
Can you help me?
What do you need?
Janice says she's seen your daughter.
My daughter has been dead for a very long time.
She was taken from us at an early age. We prayed to see our beloved girl again. The contact started small, but then it wanted permission to move into a doll so that it could be with us forever. We said yes.
Sister is coming after me.
Who?
The evil presence. It's because I'm the weakest.
It's the doll. The devil. Annabelle?
This movie.
That's been the show.
This movie, I can't remember what episode it was that we did Annabelle, the original Annabelle.
I don't remember either.
It was a ways back.
Yeah.
But if you remember that, if you listen to that episode, because I was pre-YouTube Scream Fiends, audio only on iTunes. Subscribe if you would like. But we did not
plug.
I'm trying to do it naturally.
Yeah.
Like, get at us on Twitter at Scream Fiends.
You can't look at me and smile every time you do it.
I know.
Because it just makes me laugh.
But we did not like the original Annabelle at all.
I know that was one of ours. It was one of the we'd rather watch The Witch.
Yeah, one of the very few we would rather
there's
watch.
2 of those, and I can't remember what the second one was.
Yeah, I don't know either. There's been a lot of them. But, yeah, one of the very few that we would rather watch The Witch than Annabelle. So, coming into this movie, you should know we are not big fans of Annabelle.
Yeah, the bar was pretty low.
Or The Conjuring. I mean, at least me, I'm not a big fan of The Conjuring movies in general. So you should know that we're not coming into this like high off the fumes of James Wan and his.
No, we came into this thinking, well, this is dumb.
Yeah.
This is why are we doing this?
Yep, pretty much.
I think I said why. I think I actually asked you why are we doing this at one point.
You even suggested us paying for a different movie
and then sneaking
into Annabelle, just not to give it money, but. Yeah, so this movie starts off, you get the doll maker brushing off an eyeball, and then that's really it. Like, I expected, like, the actual creation of the doll Annabelle.
Yeah,
because
you just see him kind of place the eye in, take him out, and then he uses a wood, like a branding thing and marks this box 1 of 100. So this Annabelle doll is like a limited release. And the one that he put in the box here, anyways, was number 1.
Yeah, and I remember in the original Annabelle, them like talking about getting the other dolls, because I think she has like a bunch of other dolls created by this maker, but this Annabelle doll was like special, hard to find.
Yeah, and that would be why. There's only 100 of them made.
Sure. Or you could say that Annabelle was, and the other dolls were 1 of 100. I don't know. Doesn't really clarify anything like that.
What I'm thinking is that he made 100 of those Annabelles.
Okay.
And then that's what he did. Like, because usually when you see those 1 out of 100 things, like a limited release something, it's all the same thing.
Sure.
It's just that run of doll was like super limited.
Sure.
Well, they're all handmade, so. So you get a glimpse into the life of the Mullins.
Yeah. So
should we start the housekeeping first before we get in too far?
Oh yeah, how did I forget? I've been forgetting that lately.
Yeah.
So thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
This movie is starring Stephanie Sigmund as Sister Charlotte, Talitha Bateman as Janice. Oh dear Janice. Lulu Wilson as Linda, Miranda Otto as Esther Mullins, Anthony LaPaglia as Samuel Mullins, and Samara Lee as Annabelle. Not the doll.
Not the person either. Well, was that her full name normally?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That makes sense then.
It was written by Gary Dauberman and directed by David F. Sandberg, who you may remember from our Lights Out Spoilercast. Oh,
hey, David, giving us stuff to do. Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, Annabelle, the doll maker and his wife have a daughter. They don't call her Annabelle; they call her B. And the movie starts out with her. She writes these notes and wants to play hide and seek.
Yeah, so she writes a note that says "Find me" for her father, and her father follows these notes, and then he gets to this one in the other room, and he takes the note and he writes something on there, and then he sets it on a banister. Then he goes off camera, and then B comes out from behind a curtain, and she looks at the note and it says "Found you," and then you get your first jump scare because the dad comes and he's like,
so spooky.
Gotcha.
So spooky.
And then,
I was shaking in my boots.
Yeah, and then the mother comes in and asks her, she's like, that's enough, I don't want her to overheat. So I was thinking that maybe B had a medical condition at first.
It kind of alludes to that.
But she didn't. So what happens is then B's like, I'm not going to overheat. She goes, good, because now it's my turn. And then the mother starts tickling her.
Tickle fight.
Then it's a scene where they're coming out of church.
Yep.
And a local toy store guy comes over. He's looking for his order. Hey, is my order
dolls,
coming?
yeah.
Yep. And the wife speaks up. Oh, yep, they're done. You can come pick them up tomorrow.
Yeah, apparently they're a hot commodity.
Yeah, people like these dolls.
Even though they're like the creepiest frickin' dolls. I wouldn't want those things sitting in my house.
Yep. Well, on the way home, he gets a flat tire.
Never get a flat tire.
That's a new rule in horror movies. Never get flat tires. If you get a flat tire, it's over.
Yep, and he's having a tough time changing it. And
A car's coming.
yeah, the mom sees a car coming in the distance, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go."
And what I saw coming in the distance was, oh, this is where the bee gets killed.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey guys, can you guess what's coming? Yeah, we can.
So yeah, the wife is like, "I'm gonna flag the car down, get some help," and the dad's like, "No, I got this."
But then he pulls a Christmas Story maneuver and like launches some lug nuts across the street, and B goes, "I'll get him." Bam. She gets hit.
And kudos to them for not like cutting away too soon. Like you get almost the moment of impact.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty much the moment of impact, and then split second it's cut away.
And then there you see a broken doll face.
Yep.
And then it goes 12 years later.
12 years later.
And
I can't remember the name of the orphanage, but it's like a school bus, old-timey school bus that was an all-girls, like,
orphanage.
home for all girls.
Yeah.
Something, home for all girls.
And they're driving down a dirt road, and we get a little bit of a conversation between Janice and Linda.
Yeah, so they pretty much act like sisters. Like, they're inseparable, saying, like, if you're adopted, like, promise me we're never going to be apart, that kind of deal. Sister Charlotte is, like, the only... Well, there's the
priest
driving, but she's
the one that's going to be taking care of.
Yeah.
But they've found a house to live at, which happens to be the Mullins house.
Ah.
And so they go in the house, and what we find out is that actually Janice is a polio survivor, and one of her legs is kind of
gimpy,
and she's got it's an orthotic
leg brace, and she walks around with like a crutch.
Mm-hmm. But she's getting stronger every day. And she won't be a burden. The nurse or the nun tells Samuel Wiggins, who you can tell has gone he's completely different from when you first meet him on the screen. He's more gruff and grim.
Yeah, and I think even before they get there, the priest tells Charlotte that you won't see much of Esther.
Yeah.
She was in a bad accident years earlier, and so yeah, she
but
won't
it would
really
be good to help her and and whatnot.
So right now, I just want to get it out of the way because it's something that really bothers me because it's occurred in more than just this movie. The fact that they take these people in, and then they have to be all like grumpy and like fucking like weird about it. Like they're choosing to take these people in, and yet they're still acting all like, this is a burden. Like,
well, Samuel's acting that way?
Yeah,
but the mother's not.
Well, you don't even see the mom.
It is off-putting at first because it doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's like why? So no, what this put in my head was that, oh, he's bringing girls into sacrifice to the monster. That's what I thought. I figured, this is how they get souls for the monster.
Yeah.
That was my guess. But we find out later on why they did this.
Sure.
When they go into a we'll call it a Silent Hill-esque exposition.
Yeah.
But so
they get in. There's like 6 girls total, I think.
2 older ones and 4 young. Yeah, 6 total.
Yeah.
And then Charlotte, so 7.
Yep. Yeah, 4 of them are a little bit older. One of them is clearly a lot older. It's like a gradual scale, like an older one, and then they gradually get younger.
It seems like there's 2 old ones, almost.
Well,
like
the one seemed older than the other, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the other one was still... Yeah, sure.
But then I felt like... Then there was like a young one, and then...
Was she younger than Janice and Linda?
It seems so, but like maybe she was popular with them for some reason.
Yeah.
Same with the other girl. And then Janice and Linda seem to kind of be their own thing. Maybe because of Janice, they kind of weren't exactly nice to Janice about her polio and whatever.
Yeah.
But they get inside and they're just amazed by the size of this house. And they're like, oh, we don't even need to be adopted. This place is amazing, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And then he's like, oh, the bedrooms are upstairs. And Charlotte's like, do you think you could find a room for me and Janice downstairs? Because, she can't get up the stairs with her crutch. And then Linda steps in, for me too. Then he kind of just looks at him, and then he flips a switch, and this wall chair comes down. Like you see, the oops, I've fallen, whatever. And
you definitely don't have any sense of, like, that's going to come into play later on in this scary story.
Yeah, this lots of foreshadowing in this.
Yep.
Even if it's something that's going to be merely seconds away, they foreshadow it.
Yeah, so Janice gets in the chair, and he tells her, you have to have the seatbelt buckled for it to work.
Which doesn't make sense to me.
Because, this is not like... I don't suspect they had, like, buckle sensors back in, like... When would you say this was set?
Well, when was the first movie set?
Oh, that's a good point.
Because it's 12 years before the first movie.
Yes, and then... So the original is 12 years after that.
Yeah.
Which...
So I'm thinking,
doesn't make sense at all when you think about it.
Why?
Because just judging from the vehicles, like, wouldn't you say the original is set kind of in the present?
Here's the problem.
Well, maybe not.
Here's the problem. The beginning of the original movie is set 12 years after this movie. But remember, the doll gets slashed open on. But I don't remember at what point the next family gets that doll.
No, because we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Well, I know, but like, I think the time frame works because the time where the original movie starts being 12 years after where this movie ends makes sense.
Yeah,
but the thing is, where the original movie starts is not where it goes, because then you get a family that lives in the city and it's modern times. But that scene where the family...
No. We'll get there,
okay.
But I will have to disagree for now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But in any case, where were we? She buckles in.
Yep.
And she goes up the stairs on her little chair.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets to the top of the stairs and... You see something. I actually didn't catch it right away, but you see something like standing off in the shadows of like the doorway down the hall.
A skirt.
Yeah.
And then it kind of moves away, and then she kind of looks around the corner. And it was, like, okay, well,
yep.
They're gonna get right into it.
And what's weird to me about this is that they kind of just like leave her up there. Like, there's no word of like, how you doing up there? Like,
yeah, she seems to have a moment, and I've noticed that like whenever the monster or demon is doing something, it seems to isolate the person from everybody else.
That's true.
So I mean, I feel like I'm explaining that away, because it does seem odd. Why did they just leave her up there? You think they would have walked up there with her? Or whatever?
Because that's true. That happens more than just this time. Where
So I mean, at least. If that's a thing, it's consistent. I'll give them that.
Sure.
But then everybody comes up and...
It's my turn.
Yep. They run upstairs and claim beds, and they make Janice and Lulu sleep in the weird doll closet.
Yep.
It's like a little small bedroom with doll parts all over the place.
Yeah. And Janice sees a door. It has, like, height measurements.
From a child's birthday.
And I think it says B on there. And she goes to open the door. Then we get another jump scare where it's a dad. Oh, it's locked.
It's always locked.
Yep.
It's like he could have been way nicer about that.
Or just like, let her see that it's locked and be like, okay, this door's locked.
I think like those are wasted moments for jump scares because it almost starts to numb you. You get those goofy, stupid jump scares like that.
Well, maybe I was just like expecting it the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it coming from a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
You knew, something's gonna happen with this door. But then they get to their first meal. And they're eating, and they pray, and then you hear a bell ringing, and it's coming from the room right behind them. And the one girl stands up and watches as Sam goes in to take care of his wife, and she sees that she's wearing a mask and it's whatever, and Sister Charlotte scolds her for it, and then they eat.
Yeah, because she... Well, okay. Never mind.
Okay, and then we get our first nighttime where they're all sleeping?
Yeah.
And so Janice is having trouble sleeping, and she's restless, and then she hears footsteps outside their door, and a note comes sliding underneath. And you're like, oh shit, it's already starting. And she opens it up, and of course it says, "Find me." So she gets her crutch and goes out there, and she goes out in the hallway and sees nothing. And then another note slips out from behind the door she wasn't supposed to go in. And she gets it, and she goes, "I'm in here." It says "in here," or "I'm in here." I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, when she gets right up to the door, it's like, "in here."
And then the door, you hear the door unlock. And then she says, "Forgive me, God, I'm about to commit a sin," and goes in. And she gets in there, kind of wander around, and she pulls the sheet off of this thing that's covered, and it happens to be a dollhouse that's a replica of the house they're in.
Yeah, and I think you said right away, like, "Until Dawn."
Yeah. Reminded me of Until Dawn.
Yeah, they were a little more well-made little miniature figures, but yeah, very Until Dawn-ish.
But then there was like a secret compartment in the closet in the room she was looking at that had a little figurine of Annabelle, or B. And out of this little closet comes a key. Then she grabs the key. See, now this is making sense to me, because I don't know how she linked the key to that door at first, but now it makes sense, because the key came out of the door, out of that closet in the dollhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how
that does make more sense.
So, okay, I'll give him kudos for that. I didn't realize that at first, because I was thinking to myself, this is dumb. Why did she just look at that door and know where to go?
Right.
So she goes over there because she thought to, because that's what happens in the dollhouse.
Well, and it's all covered in Bible pages as well.
The little model door, too?
Oh, I don't know about that.
But so she goes.
No, probably not.
Yeah, she opens the door up. She opens up, and there is Annabelle. And in that room is Bible pages just like pasted against the wall.
Yep.
And then a cross drawn in black ink or something on the far wall. And the doll creeps her out. So she shuts the door and walks away. And then the door opens up again. And then she shuts it again and locks it, walks away, and then it opens up again. So she throws a sheet over the doll, shuts it, and then she hears something outside, looks outside, and she sees Sam coming. Samuel, what was her last name?
Mullins.
And so she gets scared. She goes and she looks, but what we see is when she walks away from that door again, Annabelle stands up, like the doll, and it's got the sheet over her, and it's like a full-size person. And then it starts to walk towards her, and she turns around, sees it, and she's backs up against a desk.
Yeah, and it's when it's walking, it's sort of like pulling the sheet forward.
Yeah, each step kind of steps on the sheet a little bit more, and then it falls off, and there's nothing there. And then she runs into her bed and manages to escape the wrath of Samuel Mullins.
Yeah, so she gets into bed, pretends to sleep, but then she like pulls the covers.
Yep.
And it knocks her
crutch over. But then, they get the next day, which is, I think she confesses to Sister Charlotte that she did this.
Yeah, and Charlotte, they do like a confession sort of deal where
they sit back to back.
Yep, and it's been a couple weeks since her last confession.
2. Yep,
and so she confesses, and Charlotte says something to the extent of like, you shouldn't be doing these things, because if we lose this place, we got nowhere else to go.
You got to think about your sisters before you do something like this.
Yep.
Think about the other girls before you make a decision like this. And, and so for your parents, say one Hail Mary and help me unpack 3 boxes.
Yep.
Then Linda comes in and... we forgot about that.
Yeah, Linda's out...
with the girls, and
they're at the well.
Yeah, they're at the well. They're hanging out, and they're just kind of talking shit. And they're like, "Oh, I bet you this is where he keeps his wife." in this well. And then they tell her, why don't you go hang out with Janice? She goes, why? So you guys can talk about boys?
And the one's like, what, do you want to talk about, boys?
She goes, ew. And so let's play a game. Okay, we're going to play hide and seek. Okay, go hide. We'll come find you. Okay, and she runs off.
And they're like, dumb bitch.
Yeah. So she runs and sees them, and she's like, what are you guys doing? It's like unpacking box. She goes, oh, and she runs away. And then she's about to go upstairs, and she knows that the stairs are hollow underneath.
Yeah.
She sees like a grating that she can see through. So she goes underneath the stairs. Well, actually, first, the other girls go into the shed where the guy's his wood shop shed thing.
Oh yeah.
And they see that scarecrow.
Yep.
And that's really all that happens in there. They see a scarecrow, and it creeps out the one of the older girls, and you can see it from a mile away that scarecrow is going to come into play later.
Yeah, just like everything else in this movie.
Yep. So I mean that was a long setup though. That scarecrow shit didn't come out until way.
Oh
at the
yeah.
end of it.
Yeah.
But you knew it was gonna be something. Anyways, then Linda goes underneath the stairs, and she's hiding, and she's...
Well, Annabelle's down there, isn't the doll?
Well, yeah, at first she goes, and then she hears something. She turns and she sees Annabelle. And then she looks, and you can see the monster. I like how they do that monster, where it's like you just see the dot eyes.
Well, yeah, the glowy eyes.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big kind of theme with this movie, is the glowy eyes.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden the doll like turns dark, and she screams, backs up, falls out, and they're like, that's right when the girls walked in. Oh, we find you. You're not really good at hiding.
Yeah.
And that's that day. And then...
Does Janice start to see the real Annabelle at this point?
Oh, like when she starts talking to her?
Yeah.
Well, so... I'm trying to think now, because I know that her and Linda go into the room together. Oh, she goes back into the room to check something out.
Right.
'Cause she's starting to get hints at all sorts of things. So she's trying to figure... So it's cool. So it's like Janice is starting to like piece shit together.
Yep.
And so she goes back in the room checking it out, but then Linda comes in, and Janice's like, you're not supposed to be in here. She goes, well, you're not supposed to be in here. And then she starts playing with this pop gun. And...
which is kind of cool because you see it when at the very beginning
it's on the couch.
Yeah, it's on the couch. Yeah, so it
looks like it's like a space gun, and like it shoots a ball out, and then it's attached to like a fishing reel, and then you reel the ball back in. But the doll's on the bed, and it's looking at Linda, and Linda's like, "We need to get out of here." And Jan's like, "Okay, I'll come back in a bit." And so Linda leaves. And then this is when we see Annabelle, and Annabelle's talking to Janice. Is like, I need your help.
Well, she's like tapping on the window with her back to Janice.
Yeah.
And so Janice goes over there, and
she's like, are you Annabelle? And she goes, yes. I need your help with something. What do you need help with? So it's like, what's going to happen here? She goes, I need your soul. And she turns around.
She turns black and...
Yeah, turns into the monster face.
Demonic, yeah.
Yeah, and she chases her.
Yep.
And she runs out, and then she's locked out of every room. She can't get in a room, so she gets on that chair.
Yeah, and there's like visual hallucination. Well, I don't know hallucinations, but like the hallway grows really long and...
Yep. So lots of that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So she gets on the thing, and she can't get the thing go down because she forgot she's got to put the seatbelt on. So this is where they did. There's some more fucking foreshadowing. The seatbelt thing. The only thing I can guess is there's some kind of circuit that runs through the seatbelt, so it closes the circuit when she puts the seatbelt on. But then how can he control it at the base?
Very true.
Unless that's just on a different circuit.
A standalone, like it controls it no matter what.
So I don't know. She gets in it. She starts going down, and then it starts to go back up, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
So yeah, she gets to the top of the stairs. Well, she grabs onto like the banister little knobby deal, and that breaks off.
And then she's sitting in her chair. Everything seems normal, and then boom, she's ripped out of her chair. She goes
sky high,
and she just disappears in the darkness. And then her shoe falls.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, they killed her. And then her body falls. I'm like, oh, there she is. And then she's
still alive.
Yep, she's still alive. Well, because the next scene immediately is her coming in they're bringing her back from the hospital in a wheelchair, and she can't walk anymore.
Right.
And she's really distraught and really depressed. And the next couple scenes are her like telling Charlotte, we have to get out of this house. But there's another big scene. I think we missed it. The older girls are making up stories about Miss Mullins.
Yes.
And they got a sheet over each other.
With a flashlight.
And they're spooking each other out. And then they're attacked by like a masked woman that they assume is Miss Mullins. But then the oldest girl assumes they just freaked themselves out. The other girl believes she saw it. And she has difficulty with that for a while. But
so also, I can't remember when exactly this takes place, but someone is looking at a picture of like nuns.
Oh yeah, so Samuel comes in to help Charlotte because she had that issue with one of the first things actually we forgot to mention too is Charlotte has that issue with the dumbwaiter, where the door would just shoot up and she couldn't keep it closed. Well, he pulls up a picture and he sees these nuns in Romania, and she names them all. She goes, "Well, who's this one?" And it's like a creepy looking lithograph.
It's the nun. It's the nun from that is another part of this Conjuring universe.
Okay.
Soon to be its own movie. So that's why I call this a universe, because they're trying to connect all these things.
And it seems like it might be more successful than Universal's Monster Universe.
Foreshadowing.
But anyways, yep. So there's that scene, and then so after that, with the wheelchair, she seems really depressed. Charlotte asks everybody to be supportive of Janice. Then she gets Janice outside, and she's like, "The sun will do you some good."
Yep.
And she's like, "It does feel nice." Then she hears the ringing of the bell, so she goes back in to help out with Mrs. Mullen. And then the chair shakes, and then it seems like somebody's behind her pushing her wheelchair, and you can see a whole body, but then you realize it's like a monster or demon.
Yeah, it's like basically Charlotte as a dead person. Like, it doesn't show her face, but she's dressed exactly like Charlotte, and she has like
well, she looks back and up at her, and you just see a silhouette of a head.
Yeah. And she's got like blue, dead, pasty skin.
Yeah, it's grody. Well, she throws her into the shed, and she's screaming, and nobody hears her. So again, she's been isolated from everybody somehow. And so she ends up in the shed, and you get like really violent poltergeisty things where things are being thrown around. And she backs up underneath this like floor, and then it seems like somebody's walking on the floor. And then you look over, and there's Annabelle as a doll. You see Annabelle hunched down underneath the floorboards, and she comes racing towards her, jumps on top of her, and throws up in her mouth.
Oh, yes, the black ooze puke into the mouth maneuver.
Yeah, that's
one of my favorites.
That's gross. But yep, and then they hear her scream. They break open the door or whatever, and they see her in her wheelchair. And, "Are you okay, Janice?" She goes, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I just got scared or something." And she looks at Linda, and Linda knows that's not Janice anymore.
She's possessed.
Yep. Linda had her own experience with that too. I forgot because under the stairs. And then Linda's been acting a little weird, Jan's been acting weird. So Linda's sitting out on the porch by herself, and Samuel Mullins comes back, and he's holding a cross he'd been whittling. Oh, this is a scene we forgot. He's whittling this cross by his wife's bed, and she basically tells him, "You should embrace these girls being here." So like the mother's like completely normal. She's just can't walk anymore, and she's got this mask on her face.
Yeah, it's like one of those early. What they used to do with like instead of prosthetics, it was like an early prosthetic, like
for a face.
Yeah,
like
it looked like if you've ever seen Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, the one guy's got it.
Yeah,
yep. But that was a good show. I like Boardwalk Empire.
I never finished it.
So he's there. She's telling him, he's like, maybe this wasn't a good idea to bring him. She goes, "Why? We need to embrace this." And she goes, what if Janice didn't fall down the stairs?" And she goes, "It's been quiet for 12 years. Nothing, it's just an accident." He goes, "Okay. Well, then he's talking to Linda, and Linda's like, I'm worried about Janice, and she basically rats her out, saying,
she spills the beans.
That she found the doll. That Janice
they went
found
into
the
the room, and
he goes, what? And then he goes, you got to stay away from that doll. Then he goes in the house, and he can tell already that he's fucked.
Yeah.
So he's got the cross, and he's going around looking, and he gets into the dining room, and Annabelle's at the end of the table, and the doll, and he's like this, and then he turns around, and Janice comes walking in. And I found you or something, she says, or something. And he's got his hand up, and then she backs up into the darkness, and her eyes are glowing. And then she, crackles and pops and grows into the big demon. And as he's holding the cross out, his fingers get broken backwards.
Which is, it is pretty cool looking, but very clearly CGI.
Yeah, absolutely. Clearly CGI.
Each one by one, his fingers snap back, and then his thumb,
and then he drops the cross.
Yep.
Then you just hear crackle and pops and him scream, and then Charlotte runs in and finds him dead, kind of almost Ring-esque dead, where his face is like, whatever.
Yeah,
his face is stuck, but then she.
The ambulance, or it wasn't an ambulance. Something takes him
an
away.
Old ambulance,
takes him away.
It's probably a mortuary service. Or something.
Sure. Takes them away. They all go back into the house.
It tells everybody to get ready for bed.
And Charlotte says she has to go talk to Esther.
Yes, but there's a scene too there where Linda looks over at Janice holding the doll, and she gives her this look, and then Linda goes back in the room.
Yep. So Charlotte goes to talk to Esther, and then I think you get some exposition here.
No. She doesn't talk to Esther yet. What happens is they're going to bed, and she's brushing her teeth. Charlotte's brushing her teeth and doing her hair, and she sees that Linda's taken off with the doll.
With a little lantern.
Lantern. And she's going to throw the doll in the well. And so as she's running away, you get the dun, 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 like the steps are coming up behind her, and she looks, nobody's there. Finally, she throws the doll in. She tells...
Well, she has to take a cover off the well first.
She takes a cover off the well. Sister Charlotte comes, and she's like, what are you doing? This doll is hurting Janice, and it killed Mr. Mullins, so I have to get rid of it. So she throws it in the well. And then
they start to walk away.
And then...
She hears something in the well.
So she comes back and then almost gets pulled in.
Even
Charlotte
which
sees,
is so freaking obvious is going to happen. It's like, why are you doing this? Like, clearly.
Don't look back in a well.
Oh, my God. Why?
Yeah, that was really dumb. Why did you go back in there? They could have handled that when she just... I think it would have been better if they handled it just... Okay,
when she was putting it in.
I have to get rid of this doll. And as she drops it like this and looking at her... Then the hand comes out right away.
Well, I think that's the only sort of like saving grace of that moment is that they didn't do it right then, because I was actually kind of expecting it then as well. But still, why go back to the well and even put your
whole body over it?
Yeah, be like, what is this?
She lives anyways. She survives. They pull her out. The sister Charlotte pulls her out. They go back to see Janice, but Janice isn't on the couch. The doll is. So it's the whole thing where the doll won't disappear.
Yeah, and Charlotte's like, tells the older girls to go find Janice.
Yep. And then she goes to talk to Esther, and then you get your exposition.
Yep.
About how they prayed to whatever power would give them the ability to see their daughter again, and then instead of getting their daughter back, they got, a demon.
Well, so they started out small little signs. They would hear Annabelle's favorite music playing.
Yep. Then they started seeing apparitions of her, and then until finally they could never touch her or anything like this or that. But then she started asking to be possessed to be able to possess the doll so that she could always be with them.
Yeah.
And they agreed, but then shortly after realized that it actually isn't Annabelle. It wasn't B.
Yep.
And then they had the issue where she attacked the mother.
Right, because you wanted to take her soul.
But she's able to fight her off.
Yep, but it like rips her
Yeah.
eye out,
Yeah.
basically.
And then they put the doll in a closet and surround the walls and ceiling and floor whatever with Bible pages and seal her in there so she can't get out.
Yeah, they like have a priest throw holy water in there and then lock the doll in that room.
So
yeah, then we get the uncovering scene where Esther takes her face mask off and you see the gnarly
like
scratch missing eyeball.
Yeah, it looks like her face is almost charred even. But so she reveals that, and then they don't find Esther, or they don't find Janice right away. Oh, they're upstairs talking about it. All the girls are talking, and Linda's explaining to them, this is bad, blah, blah, blah. But then the older girl's like, no, you guys are just scaring yourselves. And then something happens, and so the girls, Janice comes in then, and the lights kind of come on, and she's walking like, oh my God, she walks forever, and she's like, the priest, the nun, Charlotte starts praying, and then she looks down, she realizes she's floating, and then Janice just wings her against the mirror, and then they all run out, and she kind of looks bored, and she's gonna go after them. So the girls get downstairs, but Linda runs into the other room. So what you get is the girls split up. It's Linda by herself, and then it's all the other girls. The other girls run outside, and they're gonna go hide in the barn.
Well, don't they? First, they try to get into the truck.
Yes, they try to
drive away first.
They try to get in the truck to drive away first, and they notice that the one girl notices that the scarecrow's out.
Yeah, and they're like starting it, and the light is flashing. The headlights are flashing on it, and you can kind of see it like start to move its head to like look at them as the lights are coming on and off.
Sure. And then so they run. Linda gets away by getting onto a dumbwaiter. But before that, Charlotte gets up again at some point, and she goes back into Esther's room and finds Esther crucified against the wall with half her body missing.
Yeah, ripped in half. Yeah.
So she's ripped in half, and she's like crucified against the wall
with crosses. Yeah.
And so then so Linda gets on the dumbwaiter, and she's going down. But then it goes back to the other girls, and so they run away from the truck. They run to the barn. They open it up, but only the one girl goes in. The door shuts behind her. They can't get to her, and then it's a whole thing where she's isolated again.
And she sees that the scarecrow is in there, crucified just like Esther.
And there's a because his like lower half is missing.
Yep.
But then there's a axe. So she goes to grab the axe, but the axe doesn't come out. Just the handle does. And then the monster appears as the
demon.
The demon comes out of the scarecrow, chases her. These light
bulbs
are falling
it's
out.
Kind of cool. Like the hands pop out, like the black gnarled.
Yeah. Then
hands.
He rips the mask,
and you see like these fangs, like
he's like coming out like he's pulling his face through.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so she gets away by escaping into another room and locking the door, and then she seems like it's about to break through. And then her friend actually was able to sneak around and get her out. So she gets out.
Right through the window.
Right through the window. So she gets out. Linda goes down into a room, and there's like a bunch of holy symbols. It's like weird down in some weird cellar thing. Tons of holy symbols around, and then she's got this flashlight she finds, and she finds blood on the wall, and then there's a trail of it, and it leads to Esther as a monster.
What? Did I like black out during this part?
You remember when Linda's all the way down the bottom, and she's flashing the flashlight on things, and then she gets to a scene like because there's like the glowing cross,
I remember the cross, yeah.
But then there's the blood splatter on the wall.
I remember there being like a bloody mask.
It could have they probably were just actually in Esther's room. Yeah, the bloody mask, they were in Esther's room.
Oh.
So the bloody mask on the bed, and then the wall where her body was the body wasn't there anymore, and then she comes over, and Esther's on the ground.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then she comes crawling at
That's
her.
right. I forgot it because it looked so fucking stupid. Like, really bad, like, effects.
But then
Yeah.
she's going back up the dumbwaiter then, and she looks at the crack and she sees that Janice is coming up.
Hmm.
And then she sees the monster fingernails pulling it back down. So she grabs a rope. It pulls that.
Well, she hits it with something.
The flashlight.
Yeah, to knock its hands away. And I always thought it was, I thought it was weird because, like, you don't really expect demons to, like, feel physical pain.
Well, sure, why not?
Because it's a demon.
I mean, if it's manifest, I guess it would be subject to the laws of, our,
But is it
physics.
really manifest? Because it can seemingly teleport all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's...
It was kind of weird. I thought the same thing. It's like, I thought the same thing though when she like, I'm just trying to like, why did they do that? I'm trying to.
Yeah,
get why
it's
they-
really inconsequential, but it's something that,
Yeah, maybe it really hurt to get hit with a flashlight.
yeah, sure.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
Got one. But
So yeah, she grabs the rope. The monster keeps pulling it down, and she goes up the rope.
yep. And she gets away from her at first. Then she comes out to the banister and she sees Janice downstairs and she's like got a knife. And she goes, "You know what's nice about your doll? It looks just like you." As was something she said during the beginning of the movie when they were friends still.
Yep.
Then she's cut the thing's face off, and then she screams, and she boredly starts walking up the stairs again. And what happens to Linda then?
Did we miss the scene where I think it's Annabelle like sitting at a play table and then she gets up and grows?
That's where she attacks the mother.
Oh, okay.
That's where, Annabelle. That's right. That's where Annabelle.
Oh,
That's
in
where
the
she attacks-
flashback.
In the flashback.
Yeah, that was actually probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Where she like the dress stays on, but like the monster.
Yeah, the limbs are all really gangly. Yeah. That looked really cool. So
Yeah.
there's one thing.
There's
one
one thing.
positive.
One positive. So Linda goes back into the Annabelle's room and goes into that closet. She's hiding in the closet, and she's got the doll's right next to her. So she walks over and turns the doll's head so it stops looking at her.
Yeah.
And then when she comes back, the door flies open. Jan's like, "I found you!" Tackles the ground. She's about to stab her in the face. But then Charlotte comes back in with the doll. And she's got the doll she's got like a knife to the doll. And then Janice...
Well, no, she gets the doll right in the way when Janice is stabbing.
Yeah. And
So she stabs the doll instead, and then Charlotte throws like a rosary over her neck.
yeah, over her neck, and then kind of like pushes the doll and Janice into that closet, shuts the door, slams a case in front of it.
Yep, a cabinet thing.
And then,
So we totally forgot, like, before any of all this happened, they call the police.
yeah, that's right.
So, like, seriously, like, it felt like an hour goes by from the time they call the police to...
Well, they did live out in the fucking boonies.
I suppose.
Like out in
I suppose.
Timbuktu, and but what I like is that this David F. Sundberg went back to them calling the police.
Oh,
He did that with Lights Out.
yeah. They're smart.
Yeah.
Made a smart decision, call the police.
Yeah, call the cops.
The phone, thankfully, wasn't dead.
I was
which-
expecting it.
Yeah.
Oh, the phone's dead.
Yeah.
But well, they all run out and they all meet back up, and then the house goes through a big old Amityville thing where lights are flicking or in.
They all burst.
All the lights burst, and then
Oh, that was a cool little scene when the girl is trapped in the barn. The lights slowly start to unscrew by themselves and then burst. And so she's backing away into the next light, and same thing happens. Then she climbs up
it's
on a
like
ladder.
Lights Out.
Yeah.
It's a little throw to Lights Out, probably.
Climbs up a ladder and starts twisting it back on.
And then she thinks she's safe, but then you see the demon hand grab and just shatter the light with his hands.
Yeah, yep.
And that's when she runs away.
Yeah.
After everything's said and done, the cops go through, they open the closet, and they see that
Janice is gone.
Janice is gone, the
Doll
doll's
is
there,
there.
and there's a hole in the wall, so she got out, and nobody knows where. In the next room over, the rosary is on the floor, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and the cops say, well, she's such and such, like young, like how far could she really get?
Yeah. And then it goes to a scene of.
Well, they say, oh, the priest is like.
Yeah.
The house is cleansed, and now the doll is just a doll. Which one of you wants it?
And none of them want it.
Yeah. So they put it in the trunk of the cop car.
And then shut it.
Yep.
Then it goes to a scene of a family pulling up to an orphanage.
Yep.
And I was figuring this is where Lulu or Linda gets picked up. You know, they go, oh, you're going to love this girl. She's sweet, but she keeps to herself, blah, blah, blah. And they walk in, and it's Janice.
Yep, and she's calling herself Annabelle now.
And what you get then is you see pictures.
Well, no, they give her a gift.
Oh, they give her a Raggedy Ann doll.
And that is the...
That's what, when you actually look at what this doll is based off of, is actually it was actually a Raggedy Ann doll, not what the doll they use in the movie.
Right. So yeah, then we get the picture of
Annabelle
Janice.
with the family. Yep, or Janice as Annabelle now.
Yep.
And then you see her aging, and I'm like, oh, she's the girl that kills herself over the doll. So she, and this is how they tie the two movies together.
Yeah, it transitions directly into the beginning of the first Annabelle.
Yep, and so she kills her parents.
Yeah, you get the family
foster
waking up. They hear noise, and they're like,
yep, and so what happens in that first movie is she slits her neck over the doll. So it's like, oh, she repossesses herself in the doll.
Which makes no sense whatsoever. Why would she do that? Because she's going to get caught?
Yeah, well, she's going to get killed. That guy was going to, like, attack her or something, right?
But I thought the
cops were coming, yeah. So, yes, so she was going to get caught.
But weren't the cops only coming because the parents heard a noise? They weren't doing anything illegal, were they?
Who?
The cult?
Yeah, they just killed those two people and then attacked that pregnant lady and her husband.
Oh.
And then she ran into that room when the cops were coming in because like the guy was having trouble fighting off the one guy or whatever. But then that's when the cops show up.
Wait a second.
In the first movie.
But I thought the parents were the first ones to get killed.
Yep.
They were?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she kills her parents first. Because then the couple wakes up and hears noises next door.
The couple from, the main couple.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's not the main couple either, though, is it?
Yeah.
That's right, because the baby survives because she gets stabbed in the stomach, but the baby lives.
That's why I was saying, like, it doesn't really make sense, the timeline.
The 12 years.
But I don't think it wasn't, like, in our present.
Yeah.
I think it was still, like, probably the 70s.
Let's do some math. So, like, when he's first making the dolls, and you look at those cars, that looks like the 40s. So
Sure.
12 years later would be the 50s.
Yep.
So we'll say if it's like 48 plus 12 is be 60. So this movie takes place in like 1960, which
Sure.
makes sense when you look at the dress because they got even the ones that kind of look like those 50s girls even. So it's like 50s, 60s, and then the next movie would have been in the early 70s.
Yeah.
So it does seem a little off. I don't remember.
Vaguely.
Annabelle
Vaguely. It doesn't really matter. But yeah,
But
so
that's the movie.
That's the
We
end of
did
the
it.
movie. It was kind of neat how it directly like transitions into the first movie.
I liked that,
Yeah.
but I just don't like it.
No.
I just don't like the story.
No.
So my knee-jerk reaction walking out was, it wasn't that bad. It was better than the original. That was my knee-jerk reaction.
Sure.
Your knee-jerk reaction was you were undecided.
Well, I knew that I didn't like it, mostly because the entire movie, there's no real narrative. There's like that brief exposition about how they prayed to a god or prayed to something, and then now it's a demon. That's pretty much it as far as like
Otherwise,
actual narrative.
Otherwise, it's just 6 girls in a haunted house.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so
I partially appreciate that because it just kind of it just gets you into it, and you get it sets up its tension, then pays off. Sets up its tension, then
but
pays
at the
off.
same time, like we kind of flew through events, but this movie is long. Like
it even feels long.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of just like kind of nothing really happens in between the big like and they're not even big. They're just like
you get a bunch of like little mini tension things.
Yeah.
That like so it's just like a bunch of cock teases and then you get like not the best payouts for it. I don't think that this movie was going to succeed regardless.
Because of just the Annabelle,
like just the whole thing.
Yeah,
I don't think a creation story was going to make it better. I think that it's doing well though. I think people really enjoy this universe.
Yeah,
and
well, they do for sure. Like this. So this is the week after it was released. It was released last Friday, and it became the #1 movie over the weekend. So I mean, it is a success.
Yeah, so I mean, people enjoy this. I mean, I can see, like the pacing's okay for what they're trying to do. Like for if somebody going to get scared at something with jump scares. I mean, if you're affected by jump scares or you find that fun, I could see where this the up and down with the tension might be.
It's a little bit.
A thrill ride.
It's a little bit tension filled, but at the same time, like it's really not that scary.
But I think that like the non-avid horror fan would just find this would be great for them.
I mean, okay, so behind us, there was a girl that was saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna be so scared," whatever, and like typically you get like really overreactions like when anything scary happens. Yeah, and none of that happened in this movie. Like throughout the entire thing, there's no like even like
I wonder if it's because of the foreshadowing. I mean, everything that was going to happen you saw
it is very obvious.
Very
obvious.
I mean, even if it were mere seconds, it was coming from a mile away. You know, it was.
Yeah, you could always tell when something was about to happen. Like, and the only like semblance of like that not happening is that it wouldn't exactly happen right when you expected it to. It would just kind of be delayed a little bit.
Yeah, and that's
that's
not good enough. So I mean, now like having digested it after the initial like, hey, I was having fun with some of that.
Yeah,
it wasn't very good.
No, there were some kind of fun scenes, but for the most part, it was just like overlong and. Like I said, there was just no narrative to it.
Yeah, no. I was having fun at first when Janice was piecing shit together. If they would have stuck with that, as opposed to turning her into the demon, if they were stuck with Janice trying to put like this little girl doing detective work kind of thing, it would almost been kind of fun.
Yeah, but what really was she figuring out? Just that like this thing is Annabelle?
Yeah. Essentially, but they just kind of like as she's going around and finding these things and seeing these pictures and listening to them talk, then they just blow their load and say, "Hey, look at you've met Annabelle. Oh, she's a monster.
Right.
You. Oh.
And any time a movie has to go into like a flashback to explain its story, that's not a good sign. Hint, hint. Silent Hill.
But yeah, I don't mind flashbacks, but like...
Well, just when that's the main exposition.
I feel like you could have, like, that flashback you could have just had in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, in the beginning of their shit, you could have just had that.
Sure. Like,
I mean, we already knew that the doll was going to be evil.
It actually probably...
why it's evil.
It actually probably would have been more effective to do it that way directly after losing their daughter. Then you would have still been in that mindset of like, oh shit, their daughter was just killed. Like, what are these people going to do now?
Yeah.
And then the desperation of trying to get into contact with their daughter. Like, I think that would have been way more effective than... having it an hour later in the movie and relegated to like exposition essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it would almost been like the beginning of The Exorcist or something. You could have had like where they find that Pazuzu thing or I don't know. I mean, it's just like, it was just, I don't know. The order of events could have been better.
Yeah. I think
it almost would have been better too if it was just Janice.
Oh, like,
and not an orphanage. they adopt.
She was
a girl.
being adopted. Yeah.
They adopt a girl. Maybe they adopt the two girls.
Sure.
So the one girl is being terrorized by the other one when she gets possessed by the doll. You know, that maybe.
You got like the funny man and the straight man.
I feel like if you would have eliminated the other 4 girls out of the story,
yeah,
you wouldn't have noticed.
Well, yeah, because they really have no role other than to do some mild like scare tactics.
Yeah,
which is another thing that bothered me. Like, this demon clearly could kill all these people at any time,
and doesn't. And
then it's just like, well, is it like a trickster demon? Like, it just likes to sort of scare people.
Yeah. So,
but then it does kill. Kills.
If I bring it back to Dungeons and Dragons, demons are chaotic evil, and devils, which are not the same thing, are chaotic are lawful evil, and they're fighting this blood war. It's like this eternal battle. So, like, this is a demon.
Wait, how are devils and demons different?
In Dungeons and Dragons, I can't explain that to you, but the devils are lawful evil, and they want to, inhabit their, whatever planet, and they want to take it over.
Yep.
Whereas the demons just want to watch it burn.
Yeah.
They're chaotic evil. They just want to watch things burn. So maybe that's the idea here. Where
sure.
I'm sure they weren't referencing Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm just thinking that's the only explanation I get is it might just like torturing these people. But yeah, it's just like you killed an old man by just making his fingers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, not even touching him.
Yeah.
Just.
So I think it was just basically they're just doing things to. Let's get her. This will be gross. Let's bend the fingers back. And I just feel like it was kind of cheap tricks and things like that. And so.
Yeah, I think the direction overall was pretty good. I think David Sandberg did what he could with what he was given.
Yeah, basically, I don't want to fault David because I liked Lights Out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's this masterpiece of a horror movie or anything. I mean, but I had fun with Lights Out.
Yeah.
I liked the premise. I thought it was interesting how they handled that monster.
It was a pretty spooky, like, creepy monster, like, as far as an original monster goes, like, it was spooky for the most part.
It was kind of interesting in the fact that, like, the mother communicated with it at the same time. Yeah. And also, it had the nicest boyfriend ever.
And the most intelligent, rational boyfriend ever.
Yeah, he was super cool.
Oh, my God, that boyfriend.
I know, like, every
and she
woman
was so
and man.
mean to him.
Oh, yeah.
So mean.
Well, she had commitment issues.
Yeah.
And she threw socks at him.
All right. What do you think about the music or lack of music? Because I felt like the majority of the movie, it was like silent, like in between dialogue. Like, I don't know if that was on purpose.
I like it when there's no music when something's going to happen. I mean, because it kind of sets up like something's going to happen.
But this wasn't like before something happens. This was like throughout the entire movie.
Well, that's what I mean. Though, was like when like Janice goes in the room and the monster's coming over, the music cuts out, and there's no music, and she's there, and so you're just left with their sounds, you know, as opposed to if there's like a crescendoing music or even just like a light playful music, or if there's anything, it kind of separates you from that. You know, it kind of, you know what I mean?
Well, this was almost like the opposite though, where it was silent throughout the movie except when things were going to happen. Then you would get some music build up.
That's generally how that works. But I remember scenes where like she went in the closet and the music's gone. You know, and she turns the head. You know, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Kind of like how they did the music for The Strangers. You know, the music would cut out. I think doing that's kind of a cool way to like make it creepier. Which I think this movie did touch. It was pretty creepy. There's like, I like the way that they use in these movies how they use the darkness. How like you'll be looking into a room that was just recently lit, but when the demon's there, it's just pure darkness. And,
yeah,
you know, like,
and you can tell something is there,
but you can't see it. Yeah. And that's creepy to me. I actually like that effect a lot. So it's like,
and the glowing eyes.
Yes.
Like especially like when it would like back, you could almost see a figure and its glowing eyes, and then it would back, and you would just.
Or like the picture that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
She had a picture of Annabelle, and she pulled it in like underneath the covers.
Yeah.
It would the eyes would glow. It was like kind of creepy, but I don't know. I mean, the music was fine. The cinematography was fine. I liked some of the tricks. Some of the tricks seemed like tricks. Like the darkness thing, cool. The fingers bending back, that looked really bad. I mean, it looked like modern video game finger breaks.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that could have been handled better.
It could have been done practically, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Where you just put them on strings.
Yeah.
You just run. You have like a fake bone structure that is double jointed, and you run a string to the tip, and then when you pull the string, it just pulls it back.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been awesome.
Yeah. Got to use computers for everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, overall, what do you feel?
It's better than Annabelle, the original. I like it better.
I'll
than
agree
the
with
original.
that.
I like it better than the original Annabelle, and because of some of the cool tricks that David F. Sundberg does, it did create some kind of a creepiness to it.
Yeah, he's got something with lighting.
Yeah,
like that's,
his lighting, the way he does lighting is pretty cool, and I want to see him do more. And so because I can't give it a seal of approval because the story's just shit. It doesn't get a bronze for me or anything.
No way. No.
But I think I'd rather watch this one than The Witch.
Yeah, I mean it's overlong for sure.
It's a tough sell though.
Yeah, it's way too long. But more stuff happens than the entirety of The Witch.
Yeah.
So at least you have that to sort of kind of keep you going.
Yeah. So I guess I'd rather not watch either of them ever again. But if I had to sit through a movie, I think I'd rather sit through Annabelle the Creation.
I concur. Should people spend money to see this movie?
Because I want David F. Sundberg to be successful, I will say yes. I want him to get more chances to do things because I thought Lights Out was a cool thing.
Yeah.
And I want to see him get successful so he can try more things, and whatnot. As far as this universe, I don't care. People are having fun with it, and hey, more power to you. But for me, I don't care about it. But I would say yes, go see it. So that's David F. Sundberg looks successful, even though I don't like this movie. I don't attribute it to him, or even the writer for that matter. I mean, trying to link that shit together. Hey, fucking good job.
Yeah.
But
I am kind of looking forward to the Nun movie just because out of all the creatures in this universe, like that Nun actually kind of makes me more creeped out than anything.
Yeah, that creeps me out too because the Nun is supposed to be, who's going to protect you. It's the, when it's the whole a priest getting possessed kind of thing.
It's the imagery. It's like the black metal frickin' Norwegian black metal. Yeah.
But yeah, so no seal of approval. I'm sorry, but it's better than The Witch, and you should still go see it though.
Support David F. Sandberg.
I'm glad we gave him some money.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. I mean, I don't know how that works, but I want him to have more shots at things
for sure.
And it's cool that he got to do this. I mean, he took it. Hopefully, he just get more. I want to see more things out of him.
Yeah, I want to see him sort of off the tied to some existing property. Like I want more Lights Out, like more original.
Yeah, I'd like to,
of his original ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I have to look and see if Lights Out was actually his. Did he write?
Yeah,
that
because he made the short.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, so I'd like to see more of his mind, or if he's gonna team up with somebody. But stay away from this shit.
Yeah.
Stay away from this mass produced. Just don't. I hope
the general mass people of the non-horror variety can consume and enjoy and feel like they're getting
I want to
scared.
see him get something crazier.
Yeah.
Or
for sure.
if he's going to let's see him work with Guillermo del Toro or something. Ooh. I'd like to see a Guillermo del Toro monster lit up the way that David Sandberg can do it,
That'd be amazing.
Something like that, or even give him something really psychological, like have him work with David Lynch stuff, or give him a Lynchian style kind of psychological things,
Or just Astron 6, make the greatest movie ever made.
Oh, yeah. Just basically take Lights Out and Astron 6 it. And you've got the best movie ever made. So it's funny that our favorite horror shit is what Astron 6 lampoons.
Yeah,
they just lampoon the horror industry, and we love it more than it's our favorite thing, you know.
All right, get at us on Twitter at Scream Fiends. Let us know what you thought of Annabelle if you've seen it, if you're looking forward to seeing it, what you think of the Conjuring universe as a whole. Subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/screamfiends. Donate if you would like. You can help fund us going to see many more movies, better equipment, etc., etc., etc. 7voltmedia.com. This is where this show lives, along with a bunch of other shows that our people do. Otherwise, new episodes of Scream Fiends every Saturday.
Yep.
Around there every week.
Every week.
On YouTube and audio form on iTunes and Google Play. That's about it, right?
Yeah.
From us at Scream Fiends, so long and farewell.
The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. But when I woke, dear, I was mistaken, and I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I'll always love you and make you happy if you will only say the same. But if you leave me and love another, you'll regret it all someday. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You told me once, dear, you really loved me, that no one else could come between. But now you've left me and love another. You have shattered all my dreams. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.